how much money it was. I just wanted a nice clean gym where I felt like I could be safe. I felt like I was a first responder and I worked really hard and I wanted to do this. So we were training for a show because things were starting to open up again. So we were looking at some different things and we were going, okay, some stuff's going to open up again. So let's train, let's do this. So the Jay Cutler show was coming up in November and I said, let's do it. And I gained a lot of weight through my prep, but I was pretty confident that I could take the weight off and that we could get this going. Well, fast forward, this was the summertime, September 6th happens, 2020. I'm in the gym. I had worked that day, drove to the gym, and it was very strange because my husband actually was in the gym with me, which he never goes to the gym. And he never goes to the gym on a weekend. And it's very rare that I even get him into a gym. And he was there with me. And I was on the treadmill, and I got off the treadmill, and I just said to him, I don't feel good. And I said, I just feel like I have this really bad, heartburn. And I said, and I feel really shaky. Maybe I need to eat something. I don't know what it is. I went into the bathroom, I put cold water on my face, and I basically dropped on the floor. And I knew that something was wrong. And I went out to him and I said, something is very wrong with me right now. I don't feel this way. I have horrific pain in my chest. It's like this acid that won't stop. So he's like, I guess my color was getting grayer at this point. And so they called 911 and they came in and they said, you're having a widowmaker, you're blocked on your right hand side. And I was a cardiac nurse for a number of years, so I didn't believe them. I told them, I said, that's not funny. And they said, we're not being funny. They said, we're taking you to the cardiac cath lab right now. So this was 2020. So despite changing my lifestyle and training, I was still smoking at that time. But again, like I alluded to before, my dad died at 48 years old of coronary artery disease. So we have a very strong family history. As a matter of fact, my brother just had triple bypass surgery 2 weeks ago. So, so it's in the family. So, I mean, I thank God because if I didn't get my crap together, a couple of years prior to that and really start taking it seriously, whether or not I was going to do bodybuilding or not, I'm alive. And my cardiologist tells me all the time, he's like, you shouldn't even be here right now. So a widowmaker is one of the worst that means that you're in heart failure. And it actually looks like when you look at the EKG, it looks like they call it the tombstones because it looks like that there's tombstones on your EKG. And that implies the blockage. So the only way to treat that is they take you into the cath lab and they put a stent. And they were able to go through my wrist and not my groin, thank God. And I was very lucky because they were able to put stents in and open me up. My brother, on the other hand, they couldn't stent him, so they had to crack his chest. And he had to have triple bypass surgery, and he's 47. But didn't take care of himself, is a diabetic, blah, 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 So he now has a new awakening. So, so this, thank God I was training at the time. And that I was in relatively good shape because I wouldn't be here right now. So after my heart attack, I was really bummed out. And I said, okay, the smoking stops now. I was miserable. All I could do was do my cardiac rehab. So I was walking. I'd go to the pool and I'd water walk as soon as they cleared me. And then about 2 months later, they cleared me and said, okay, you can go ahead and start lightweight training. So we did that and we worked me right back. And I said, okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to go ahead and talk with my cardiologist. And I said, this is means everything to me. I said, I want to do this so bad. And he said, okay. He said, we're going to do it. He said, but if you can't push the weight, then you don't do the weight ever. And I said, okay, I'm cool with that. He said, well, this is a lifelong agreement that you and I are making right now. And I said, no, I got you. So I trained and I was going to do the Jay Cutler, the New England Championship, which is one of his shows in Boston. And I felt like I wasn't on track for it. So this was 2021. So we waited and I went to Virginia and I competed in the Battle Royal, which was one of Gary Udit shows. And I won the overall. I nearly crapped my pants. There was 6 or 7 of us in the class. And for an amateur show, that's pretty big. And I nearly crapped my pants because I thought they kept going, okay, in 3rd place, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still standing there in 2nd place, blah, blah, blah. And I'm literally standing there and I looked and I go, holy crap, I think I just won. And I did. I won the first responder, the master's division, and the open. And
so now So now you're going to the national soon.
So then I went to Masters National back in 2022 and
Okay.
trained really, really hard for that show, and it was an awesome experience. And I placed third and fourth in my classes, which I was really proud. So
Okay.
now I finished Masters National, and it was awesome. And I was like, okay, I'm like off season, let's grow. I need to do this. Back on track again. We'll compete the universe, and maybe I'll go back to Masters National the next year. So we're training and we're having a great off season. And then all of a sudden that year, probably March ish. Yeah, it was March. It was 2023 or 2000, no, 2022. 2022, I think it was. Um, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So that put a wrench into everything. So I just couldn't compete. So I had to wait
Yeah.
because when your thyroid regulates everything, and it was a really hard process for me. Like I was gaining weight. We didn't, we had to get my hormone levels straight, everything. It took like a good year. So fast forward to this past November, that picture that you had showed, that was me at the New England Championship that I had done. And you know, for me, I thought I looked pretty good there. Not
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
best. Not my best. I definitely am going to be a lot harder and tighter right now. But I didn't give a shit. I was just so proud to be out on that stage. And now, and then in between the cancer and that, I had a small stroke.
Wow. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot,
Well,
man.
what do they always say? Like the man upstairs gives you like what you can take. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
You're right. Yeah.
I have conversations with them all the time, going like I've given, like I'm good. We can move
Yeah.
on
I
now.
understand.
So but I went through that. I literally was sitting at home one day, and then all of a sudden I literally couldn't feel like my right side. And it
Yeah.
was a TIA, which is it's a small stroke. And we don't know why I got it. My blood pressure I've never had high blood pressure. I don't know. We
How do
don't
you
know
keep?
why. What's
How
that?
do you? No, I was going to ask you. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No, no,
but
that's
how do you keep your mind sane? Like, cause for you to deal with all that, I know your mind has to be right. Just to have that discipline of just trying to compete, and then certain, I could say, turmoils, kind of ordeals will come.
yeah. Oh, you want to come up? You want to say hi? Come up over here. This is my reason why here she is.
Hey, doggy.
This is Patience. She's
Hey,
anything
Paige.
but, yeah, she's anything but.
She's
She's
a
actually
cute.
my emotional support animal.
Okay.
So yeah, we would love to take her to a show with us, but I just think that
Yeah.
she's just a little bit too crazy.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
what keep you going. The dog.
well, her, I got another one too, but I think,
Yeah.
I think like just myself, and a lot of people that supported me along the way, whether it be like I gave up nursing a couple of years ago, and I went back into full-time personal training. So like my clients are like my family. So they're kind of
Okay.
like my everything. Sit down.
Yeah.
Um,
So you.
yeah.
So when did you decide to do physical training? I mean, be a physical therapist.
You mean a personal trainer?
Yeah, personal trainer.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
That's
personal
okay.
trainer.
So after COVID, I had kept my license active after COVID for a little while, probably like
Yeah.
another couple of years. And I had really done everything in 24 years of nursing, from working in the emergency room to cardiac to being a nurse case manager to administration. And I got tired, and I knew that like my health was starting to suffer from it. And I literally made a decision overnight. I'll never forget it. I had like this argument with an insurance company over a patient, and they needed to have what they call like a Libre, which is the blood sugar device that you'll see people on here. They put it like here, so they don't have to prick their fingers. And people who have like neuropathy, which is a condition that affects the nerves, they can't prick their fingers. It hurts because their nerve endings are just fried. So I had an argument with the insurance company. We had gotten this. I was working for a doctor at this point, and we had gotten this patient like off of insulin, and like they had like lost like 50 pounds and they were doing great. And we were so proud of this patient. And they were like, well, no, unless she's insulin dependent. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I went home and I was like, I'm done. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I gave my 2 weeks notice. And I was lucky. My family and everything supported me. And I said, it's my health. I can't do this anymore. I can't, like, if I can't take care of a patient like they're my own family, that's why I went into nursing. My dad was a pharmacist. My mom was a teacher and then became an assistant principal. In my family, we have all been in the service industry. Both my sister, my mother, and my brother are in education, and I was in nursing, and my dad was in pharmacy. So it was always about taking care of people. And that's where we're lacking. Our healthcare system is so bad, and there's nobody to advocate for patients. And I just went home and was like, I'm done. I'm done. I just don't want to do this anymore. So I said, I want to go into personal training where I feel like I can use my knowledge in nursing that I've had all these years, but now I can help people get better in a positive way. So people come into the gym and they want to be there. Like, very rarely do I have people who come in who are like, I really hate being here. You know what I mean? Or they're miserable and they're like, they might not love getting there, but like once they're there, they're like, man, I'm glad I came today. So, and being able to just make a difference in people's life, and knowing the struggles that I personally went through with my own weight loss journey and my own health. So I have conversations with clients. I had a client yesterday who called me because she was really concerned about